Okay, hello. First, I'll point out in the comments section I've placed a link that will take you to a video that discusses cure for early stage prostate cancer without surgery or hospital stay. Now, like I've said many times, the idiot felon is a huge security risk to the United States. That opinion was based on hearing him babble on different subjects in the media so much. My impression is this: as a result of becoming the president, there is required training, but it's probably just called a briefing, and he probably paid no attention or slept through it because he lives by avoiding being responsible or accountable, and he still gets away with it. I really wish someone in the legislative branch would grow his spine and do what's best for the country and call the idiot on his stupid actions. Watch this video. In this video, you will hear discussion about the felon's cabinet picks. It seems that qualifications are not needed. One only needs to be willing to follow the idiot felon. The person that occupies the office of the President of the United States used to deserve respect. That needs to end immediately for as long as he's in that office. It would be a blessing to this country if he was removed. The quicker the better, so he can't infect the rest of the world. Please watch this video.
Donald Trump is cutting out the FBI, not allowing them to do any background check on any of his cabinet nominees or anybody he wants in his administration, which means people who have drug problems, financial problems, criminal problems, ethical problems, or are national security risks or suspects are going to be put into his administration. And then Donald Trump's going to do the next best thing. He's going to order that they be given top secret clearance, just like he did for 25 people in the first term, further compromising our national security. I'm Michael Popak. You're on the Midas Touch Network and Legal AF. And some of you might be wondering, well, how did some of these people end up as his nominees if they went through a proper FBI vetting process? Well, they didn't. And that would explain why somebody like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a person who's admitted to having a drug addiction in the past, making him likely to be compromised by our enemies, is the nominee for Director of Health and Human Services. Tulsi Gabbard has long been suspected of being a foreign asset for Putin and Russia. She's effectively become the talking points for the Kremlin. She's now the nominee for the Director of National Intelligence. Matt Gaetz is the subject of at least a 2-year-long Department of Justice investigation into whether he committed sex trafficking, raped underage women, used illegal drugs, and took bribes. Same subject as the House Ethics Committee. And these people, and I'm not done yet, Pete Hegseth, who's the nominee to head the Department of Defense, he's got a sex assault charge against him from 2017. None of this was caught, or if it was caught, nobody in the Trump transition team or Trump cared about it. And they're just planning to shove these people in and have at the end, when the FBI or people in the intelligence community say, we can't clear these people for national security clearance, which they all have to have because of their jobs that they're being offered, Trump's just going to do what he did last time. He's just going to say, give them top secret security clearance. He did it for Jared Kushner. He did it for Boris Epstein, who's one of his inner circle lawyers that's helping to recruit these yahoos. Now, some people are like, well, how did they even get through vetting? That's the point. There's no vetting. The transition team for Donald Trump long ago decided they were going to cut the FBI out and not have any report. That stands in contrast to what the Senate Republicans are demanding. The Senate Republicans are demanding that these candidates go through proper FBI vetting before they go through a confirmation hearing, like Matt Gaetz, that they want to see. You've already heard senior leadership for the Republicans say, like Cornyn, we got to see the report about Matt Gaetz. And the same thing with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on his drug use. Tulsi Gabbard's got to be questioned and investigated closely about her ties to the Kremlin and why she's trafficking in conspiracy theories to undermine our national security as she's about to become the national director of intelligence. See, this is the problem when a criminal president goes back into office. It's not about testing the norms or the safeguards. It's about a total destruction and a total renunciation of any checks and balance. None of these people should be confirmed by the Senate. None of the people I've just identified, RFK Jr., Hegseth for defense, Gates for attorney general, Gabbard for the intelligence community, none of them should see the light of day. Their candidacy should right now be withdrawn. Our national security hangs in the balance. To think that our chief legal officer is going to be a person who the House Ethics Committee is about to issue a report, or we're going to get it kicking and screaming through subpoena power to show to the American people as part of the confirmation process what he is accused of and what they found against him. It must be terrible. It's so terrible that it's likely, in my view, in my investigations, that the Republican chair of the Ethics Committee tipped off Matt Gaetz about how bad that report was going to be and suggested publicly that he should resign, and then he did. And so this answers the question, how did Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, not know about Hegseth's criminal past of sexually attacking women? Or about Gates? How does she not know that? Well, she doesn't know that because there's no FBI background checks being used. They claim in the transition team for Donald Trump that they're using some sort of private investigative service. Come on. This is something, this job calls for the FBI. And for some of them, the CIA. And there's a reason why you want to do background checks to determine conflicts of interest, their track record, their business record, their criminal history, their drug use, right? Whether they have been turned and are a foreign asset and a double agent, especially in the positions he's choosing. We're not talking about PTA president here. The chief legal officer of the United States of America in charge of the Department of Justice, the person to whom the CIA director reports, the leader of the civilian command leader of the most powerful fighting force in the world, the Department of Defense. These are the people that he's chosen. This is, like I've said, this is a deck of cards where he's dealing only jokers. But it gets worse. I mean, we knew that he was going to try to troll the American people, even the people that voted for him, and put these people up. But the fact, this is the national security interest issue. All of these people I've just identified here compromise our national security, the protection and freedom of Americans. To put these people into office without proper vetting because you want to troll and put a middle finger up to fair-thinking people and Democrats, progressives, and independents. I mean, right now, the last line of defense, forget the United States Supreme Court, the firewall that remains, the only one, is the United States Senate. That they take their job seriously, that they take their institutional legacy and the respect of being a senator, the most deliberative body that we have, and they shove back at Donald Trump. I mean, he thinks that they are, along with the MAGA House, his lapdogs, that he sits on a throne with the Senate on one lap, on one knee, and the House on the other. This podcast is sponsored by Delete Me. Have you or someone you know been a victim of identity theft? 14 years in hair and makeup at Fox News, at Fox and Friends. That's our leader of the fighting force, Matt Gaetz, who's ethically challenged and likely a criminal at best, and trying to get around this problem by cutting out the adults in the room, cutting out Susie Wiles, the chief of staff from this election process, trying to shove it through, with some sort of drunk power move from the election day and get the senators to go along. It looks like already it is backfiring.
So that's why I say the country is screwed because we have a criminal in the White House.
And the more outrageous and obscene and obscenely unqualified these people are, it is undermining whatever credibility or honeymoon Donald Trump thought he was going to get. If he had done like the first 5 picks had been, not my cup of tea, but I could sort of see the credentials, then we wouldn't be able to talk about it this way. And maybe he would have gotten it all through. But he's so drunk and crazed with power, and so is his transition team and those around him. They're like, do it! So he's just destroyed any credibility or any trust, if that's even a word you can use around Donald Trump, that would have come from it.
No.
And the crazier his picks have been, the more now you see Republicans, not just in the House, but in the Senate rebelling. Cornyn, who just lost as the Senate majority leader, holds a lot of power, has a lot of respect. He basically said, I got to see everything about Matt Gaetz, including this House ethics report. They have a lead, the Republicans in the Senate, but that lead of 3 or 4 seats quickly evaporates when Susan Collins from Maine says about Gaetz, I don't see this going anywhere. Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, says it's not a serious candidate. Cornyn says, I need to see everything. And other senators are chiming in. I'm talking about the Republican ones. This isn't going to be a floor fight. This is going to be these people should die in committee. And if Donald Trump was smart, which he's not, he would withdraw these people immediately. Now, he's got some backups here, just in case. Behind Matt Gaetz, for every Matt Gaetz, there's a Todd Blanche, which I don't love him as a pick, but he'll probably get confirmed, and the like. And behind Tulsi Gabbard, you have the real head of the National Intelligence, which is the director of the CIA, Ratliff. But the way that we can, this is our moment. This is a gift. I want people to see it this way. This is the end of my hot take on this issue. This is a gift. Donald Trump's insane, obscene selections have to be grabbed by us, free-thinking people, independent people, progressive people. And as a package, we have to raise our voices in social media, in the streets, if necessary, marching on Washington, if necessary, picking up the phone and communicating in some way with your senators to give them a backbone to fire back. They are our last firewall against this insane, mad as a hatter cabinet. And we'll continue to follow it right here. Nothing we can do about it in the courts. But the public yelling out and screaming about these candidates on a regular basis will make Donald Trump have to choose to pull them because the public does not accept them. And then, of course, the senators will look to the public to signal to them where they should vote. And that's where everybody here on the Midas Touch Network comes in. Everybody here that follows Legal AF comes in. This is your moment. People ask me all the time in emails and direct messages, in chats, what can we do? You've identified the problem, Popak. What do we do next? I'm telling you what to do next. This is it, right? Contact your senators. You got 2 of them in every state. You can do your Congress people as well. Let your voices be heard. Let them ring out. We'll amplify it. We'll do a trampoline effect here on this network together. The 3.5 million people or so that we're all bound together here for common cause. But now's the time. There's things at the intersection of law and politics we can do in the court system. And I'll talk about that in other hot takes. But there just comes a time when good old-fashioned outcry, throwing up the window and yelling is what we need at this moment. Put pressure on the senators. Let them know that these are unacceptable, right? That they're outside the mainstream, that they are not confirmable, and they should be withdrawn. And that in any event, the FBI, not some private investigative agency, needs to do the background checks related to this. I'll be right back here tomorrow on the Midas Touch Network, on Legal AF, the podcast. And then, of course, we've got our new channel that we built just before the election for this purpose, to talk about everything at the intersection of law and politics and come up with an action plan to move forward. Go over to YouTube, Legal AF MTN, the Legal AF channel. Subscribe there to help us build that pro-democracy channel. Till my next hot take, I'm Michael Popak, and I'm reporting.
Okay, and to that regard, towards the end of communicating with your senators, I've created a webpage myself that will allow you, and I will include it in the comments section below this video. I've created a webpage myself that will take you. All you have to do is select your state, what state you're from, and hit enter, and it will take you to your Contact Your Senators webpage. Thank you for watching.